Our next guest is an Emmy, a Grammy, and Tony-winning singer, songwriter, and actor you know from Dear Evan Hansen and Parade on Broadway, as well as the film Theater Camp and the series The Politician. His 3-week residency at New York's Palace Theater starts May 28th, and his third album, Honey Mind, is out May 31st. Please welcome back to the show our friend Ben Platt, everyone.
Thanks.
Congratulations on the album.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, the title, Honey Mind,
Yeah.
does that come first or does the music come first? And where did you come up with either?
Well, I started writing the music back in the spring of 22, pretty early, before I did Parade on Broadway, and then it sort of interrupted things unexpectedly. But I was, the title came from a hike that I took with my fiance. His name is Noah Galvin. We're getting married in the fall.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You know, I'm a very anxious, kind of fearful person, and drug taking really scares me. But Noah is completely fearless and like can be completely blitzed, and you have absolutely no idea because he's just sort of like very chill. So he slowly started to introduce some things to me that he thought would be beneficial. One of which is mushroom chocolate.
Okay.
And so we indulged in some of that and took a hike up at Mohawk Mountain upstate. It was very beautiful, and I was feeling quite loose and quite happy. And, you know, it's very mushy, but he was asking me to try to sort of describe, you know, what was making me so giddy and so calm. And I started to think about, you know, my love for him and, you know, what that does to my mental state. And I imagined the inside of my head like you do when you're taking mushrooms. And I thought about all these, like, jagged things kind of jutting out and, like, sharp corners and things that make you stressed and anxious. And I thought about, you know, love doesn't really take those away or, like, make them disappear. It just sort of, like, coats them in something, like makes it all a little sweeter and softer and warmer and easier to take. And so obviously that felt like honey to me. And I started telling him, like, you don't understand, you give me honey mind. And he was like, that sounds like a song. And so I wrote the song with some of my co-writers, and then it just felt like a great moniker for like the whole album because a lot of it's inspired by my
That's incredible. That's really beautiful.
Thanks.
It's also... Usually when people say, I want you to hear this song I wrote on mushrooms, when it's over, you're like, no. Not wrote on, idea from, I should stress.
No, I'm unproductive when I can't write.
I'm very excited, by the way. You're coming here June 3rd. You're going to do a song from the album, so we're looking forward to that. And I've heard that when you make an album, obviously you want your friends, people you trust to listen to it.
Yeah.
So you don't mind hearing their feedback. You don't mind that.
No, I like sending something to someone and letting them listen to it on their own time and then hearing notes back. But the thing that I absolutely hate, which is just necessary when you're rolling out an album, is when you have to sit in a room and play it for people and sit there and watch them listen to it. I don't mind singing it, like when I have to do some work and like earn my keep, like that's nice.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting there and I'm like explaining a song and then press play and just sort of staring at my shoes for 3 minutes while they listen to it, that makes me very uncomfortable.
Oh, that would be an absolute disaster. I totally understand.
Yeah, because I don't want to make eye contact and sort of pressure them into like crying. I just sort of look for tapping toes or Kleenexes being reached for, things like that.
I also would hate to be in that position of being in a room listening to you, because I think I'd overdo it and be like, you know, I would be a way I never am listening to music.
Yeah, and I'd be like, Seth, this is a really sad song. Why are you absolutely jamming?
And I'm like, I'm so nervous. This is very. You're going to be at the Palace Theater.
Yes.
This is a theater that's been shut down for a long time. It's reopening. You're reopening it.
That's right. That's right. It's a Broadway theater that back in the day it was sort of like the pinnacle of the vaudeville circuit. Like you made it the big time if you played the Palace, and then it became this spot for like one-woman and one-man shows and residencies. Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli, Bette Midler, and then it's been closed for a long time, and now they're bringing it back and they're letting me be the first one in there.
Fantastic. So here's there's Judy Garland. And here's your marquee. That must be like the coolest thing in the world to see the two. And by the way, you are a longtime fan of Judy Garland.
Oh, since I was a wee child.
Here you are dressed up as Judy Garland.
Yes.
And I want to clarify something with you. Is this Halloween?
Nope.
Just.
No, that's a Tuesday.
That's just a day.
Yeah.
That's just a day where you're gonna fully Judy Garland.
Yeah,
I love it.
Come home and watch The Wizard of Oz every day, and that dog's name is Dorothy, actually.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Will you have guests at your residency?
Yeah. So every night there's going to be like a special.
Every night a different person.
All 18 shows. We got 18 different special guests. We're talking pop stars, country stars, Broadway stars.
That's great, and they're lined up.
They are lined up. Well, there's 14 that are locked in. 4 are about to fall into place.
I would love the invitation.
What do you want to sing?
I don't know. that song you do where that like really sad one?
Yeah.
That sad one? But this is something very cool and not a joke. Everyone in the audience tonight will be receiving a ticket to one of your shows during
The
your
Palace.
residency.
Come to the show.
Courtesy of Mr. Ben Platt,
We love it.
which is a very, very generous and cool thing. Thank you. You mentioned you're getting married to Noah.
Yes, we're getting married.
You and Noah had a separate bachelor party.
Yes, we did.
Which is the right thing to do when you're marrying
Yes.
somebody. You have two different bachelor parties.
Exactly.
Very different in tone.
Very different in tone. Noah's was like with his friends in the woods, you know,
Yeah.
doing drugs, hanging out.
We're finding out what Noah's thing is.
He's a lot cooler than I am in general. Mine was my high school theater friends throwing me a cast party.
Okay.
And sort of dancing to like Turkey Lurkey time and stuff. But it was really fun. It was very strange because they took me to this place called Joy Face downtown. It's really fun for dancing. And we were having a great time. And very randomly, just sort of out of the blue, Paul Mescal, who I'm doing this film, Merrily Roll Along,
Yep.
walked in.
Fantastic actor.
Wonderful guy, good, dear friend. And he also was with Jessie Buckley, who I think is
Also
is
incredible,
amazing,
yeah.
who I don't know, who's working on a film here, I think, or was. And I have a very strange relationship to my love for Jessie Buckley because I took a trip with Noah to Mexico and immediately upon arrival drank some water that I shouldn't have drank and got some Montezuma's Revenge and spent
Yeah.
the whole trip in the bathroom. And the only thing that kind of got me through that week in the bathroom was I watched this reality show in the UK that if you haven't heard of it, it's on YouTube, highly recommend. It's called I'd Do Anything, and it's a reality competition show where girls are trying to win the role of Nancy in Oliver on the West End. And so it's like American Idol, but they're trying to get this role in this musical. And Jessie Buckley, as a very, very young kid, is on it, and it's sort of where her first like break happened, and she makes it all the way to the end. So I just spent the whole time on the toilet really just rooting for her to make it. And she makes it, spoiler alert, all the way to the finals and then loses out just because she wasn't exactly the right type, not because of her talent.
Okay.
But she really got me through that time. And so she walks into this club and suddenly I'm back on the toilet and I'm like, I have to express to her how much she meant to me. And I'm walking up to her like, I'm just gonna go through that story just like I just did to you. I'm gonna go through every detail. And I get up to her and I'm just like, you cannot do this at 1 in the morning at this club to this poor girl. And I was just like, your work means a lot to me.
Yeah, that is the right call. If someone's like on their way to the dance floor, you're like, can I have a second of your time for a super weird story that's not going to make you ever want to dance again?
Absolutely.
Your dear friend, Beanie Feldstein, who's also doing Merrily with you and Paul.
Yes,
I can't
yes.
believe it. That's
Crazy.
just perfect casting. She talked about how at her wedding, you sang at her wedding,
yeah.
which is a fantastic thing to do for a friend, and also a fantastic reason to have you as a friend. I think that...
Yeah, I generally work most of the weddings
I
go
would
to.
imagine it's tough. It's tough for you to go to one where they're not like, just one song. Have you, though, asked for the favor to be returned from Beanie yet?
Well, my wedding is going to be super Jewish. Naturally, I'm Jewish. And we have this tradition in the Jewish faith called the Sheva Brachot, which is like 7 blessings that you say during the ceremony that are essentially the thing that makes you married. You get like 7 different well wishes on your way. So Beanie did this amazing thing at her wedding where she had all 7 Hebrew blessings, but then had people interpret like their own English versions of what they'd like to say. And so we're asking Beanie to say one of those and offer a
fantastic.
blessing to us. So I'm not going to make her work quite as hard.
Well, that's very kind of you. You're a very good friend. And congratulations on everything that is in your immediate future. We're looking
Thanks.
forward to having you back in June.
Yes.
Thank you for being here,
Oh
Ben.
my God, of course. Thanks for having me.
Ben Platt, everyone, his residency. You're all going at the Palace Theater starts May 28th, and Honeymind is out May 31st. For tickets to the Honeymind tour, visit benplattmusic.com. We'll be right back with more later.